Alright guys, Acheron is the next highly anticipated character to release, and quite a few of you may be thinking, will she be strong enough to power creep the meta in StarRail? Before we get right into it, please subscribe to the channel, would extremely appreciate it, and drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Okay, Acheron being a Nihility lightning character holds a lot of potential as a DPS that could possibly take over the meta on release. I've gone through how to prepare for her in my last video, so check it out if you are certain on pulling for her. Now before I get into whether I believe she is going to power creep the meta, I'll explain what a character should be like in order to do so. The major factor would be versatility. What that means is how easy it would be to run that character to fully utilize their kit. So if a character requires a ton of support and specific attributes, it would be quite difficult to use that character as efficiently. So you would want a character to be as less as a hassle to really work. Essentially, I cover that Acheron would require Nihility characters to be run alongside her in order for her to work properly. Now I confirmed that Acheron won't be a dot character like Kafka, since she wouldn't be able to replace her, making Acheron a crit DPS character. So that itself makes it a little difficult already. A Nihility character that doesn't utilize dot, that needs Nihility characters on the team, which majority of them do revolve around dot, makes the team building process for Acheron a bit complicated. Some of the top Nihility characters to be placed alongside Acheron would involve Black Swan, Pella, Silverwolf and Gwynaifen. Now let's say you pick Gwynaifen and Pella to run alongside Acheron, but you don't have them built since you don't really run Nihility characters. So that is two whole new characters you will have to build, from their relics to the light cone and ascending them. Given that we use the resin system, it will be a long while in order to achieve building them properly. Bear in mind, that is in addition to Acheron, so you will need to be building Acheron alongside two other Nihility characters. So from this, it kinda shows how difficult it will be to get Acheron really going. Currently you have DPS characters like Imbibed Lune and Jing Liu that don't have restrictions in order for their kit to be fully utilized. The both of them are also crit DPS characters, and they would run perfectly well with a crit buffer such as Sparkle or Bronya. In comparison to Acheron, these two would only need one character to get them going, leaving two spaces left in your team for you to play around with. If you haven't invested that much into the team, running a healer with a shielder might be a safe option, or you could have a sub DPS with a solo sustainer. With Acheron, just having one space left for the team kinda makes it difficult, especially for those who don't have a fully invested team. I saw a lot of comments in the last video mentioning that they would run Acheron with two Nihility characters and either Bronya or Sparkle as crit support to enhance Acheron's damage. Now with that, if you don't clear quick enough, will leave your defense wide open, which makes the team more like a glass cannon team. Of course it is possible to run a team like that, but only if you know what you're doing, and you have to properly invest into those characters to ensure that they have good survivability without a sustainer. What I would recommend is using a solo sustainer alongside the two Nihility characters such as Fu Xuan, since then you wouldn't be as stressed with keeping your team alive and you can clear with more comfort. However, players will also want to enhance their Acheron's damage, maybe with the new Sparkle they pulled. So with that, if your Acheron is able to operate at maximum efficiency with less Nihility characters, then she really has potential to take over the meta. It would allow the use of a crit buffer alongside a solo sustainer, just making the team much stronger. It just seems too much of a hassle, as the restriction to have multiple Nihility characters on your team prevents either not having good sustainability or crit support for Acheron. Talking about Sparkle, it would be quite difficult to actually see Acheron being so heavily restricted completely beat Imbibed Lune partnered with Sparkle. The amount of crit damage Sparkle is able to provide is insane, along with the many other useful things she can provide, making Imbibed Lune a force to be reckoned with. It's not only Imbibed Lune that she can buff majorly, but that's going off topic. Main point is, right now I believe in terms of DPS, it's either Imbibed Lune or the dot team that reigns supreme. So Acheron does have her work cut out for her. Along with the team restriction being an issue, there's the light cone situation too. I also went over what light cones would potentially be good for Acheron. In terms of free to play light cones, it was pretty much narrowed down to literally one viable option, being Good Night Sleep Well. So if you don't have the light cone, especially with a few super impositions, that would really reduce how versatile Acheron is even further. The problem is, Acheron is going to be a Nihility crit character, so there won't be many options for her since she's going to be the first of her kind, and Nihility DPS characters up until now utilize dot. In comparison to the other meta DPS characters that are in the hunt or destruction paths, also being crit DPS characters have plenty of light cone options. From 4-star light cones to 5-star light cones you would have probably pulled from the standard banner or even an exchange shop. Therefore, it would just be much easier to build those characters, and the chances are you already have a viable light cone and relic set built for them. This just means it might be necessary for Acheron to have a signature light cone to power creep the current meta, or even just compete with them. Of course, over time, I would expect the options to expand for Acheron when it comes to light cones and her team. Similar to Imbibed Lune, he had to wait quite a bit for Sparkle, his best in slot support, to release, but now he's thriving. So I definitely do expect Acheron to receive a helping hand later down the line also. But yeah, if you haven't really been saving for Acheron, it will be quite tough to ensure pulling her along with the signature Lycone. In short, for Acheron to potentially power creep the meta, it will take a lot more investment than usual. You would likely require her signature Lycone, and you would have to find a way to reduce the amount of inhality characters you would require on your team. If you are able to achieve that, allowing for a crit support and a solo sustainer, I see Acheron completely taking over the meta. The potential she has just from her presumably best in slot relic set makes you think of the crits that she is able to achieve, which is quite impressive. If Acheron is restricted into having to run multiple nihility characters alongside her, I believe she will be a great contender but may not be able to power creep. Of course, I could be completely wrong as nothing has been confirmed and no numbers have been shown. So my advice to anyone considering on pulling for Acheron, you either go in hard or don't bother. She will need that heavy investment in order for a payoff, otherwise she will be nowhere near her full potential. Of course you can still pull for a copy for design's sake I guess, as she still looks stunning. We haven't got long left till her release, so just keep saving and prepare for her wisely. With that, if you guys enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel for more Honkai content and drop a like. Also, drop a comment on what your opinion is on Acheron, whether she will be able to definitely power creep the meta or not. And yeah, hope to catch you guys later.